Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rahul Pandey. We are here at Appian World 2020, the virtual Appian World. I'm really excited to be here. And today, we're going to be talking to you about DevOps transformation in Appian. And we're going to tell you how we enable that over here at CollabraLink. So first off, with me, I have Jay Vijaykumar. Jay is the Director of the Intelligent Automation Practice at CollabraLink. He's been with us for the last 4 years, focused on Appian Intelligent Automation. Prior to that, Jay spent a stint over at Appian Professional Services, and he has over 20 years working with clients on building modernized solutions that leverage intelligent automation. So Jay brings a wealth of knowledge in this arena. So I'm looking forward to having Jay talk you through what we're doing in the space. As I mentioned, my name is Rahul Pandey. I am the CEO here at CollabraLink. I have been involved with Appian and intelligent automation dating back to 2005, so I'm what you could call a veteran in this space as well. We at CollabraLink are really mission focused, and our focus is to create a modern digital government. And by virtue of being mission focused, we have become the go-to partner for Appian digital services implementations for our federal government. We are doing work across a broad swath of federal agencies, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about that here shortly. But when we talk about Appian, all the solutions we bring to bear are underpinned by several pillars, and those pillars are down here below the slide. Number one, we worked at the very beginning to implement human-centered design. We find that this is absolutely critical. Injecting HCD is absolutely critical to getting to good outcomes. We couple that with agile software development along with DevOps, always on cloud platforms. So Appian Cloud is our flavor of choice. We leverage that just about everywhere we can. We also like to bolt onto that. We'll leverage the best-in-class RPA and machine learning tools. And we are also versed at leveraging the native RPA and AI ML tools that come embedded within Appian. So like I mentioned, we are very mission focused. We are focused on creating a modern digital government. We do that by leveraging very talented staff. We do that by leveraging an agile approach. And we're really focused on driving a more interactive, productive, and secure government. I mentioned earlier, we got a broad swath of clients. We like to think of them as partners. We're working at the GSA, Department of Labor, Department of Transformation, Food and Drug, CMS, a number of other clients, and these folks are all our partners for Appian implementation, Appian digital services. They look to us as the best-in-class provider of Appian digital services, and as a result, we've found ourselves as a prime contractor across a myriad of federal agencies. So what is the advantage that CollabraLink brings? I mentioned we started our relationship with Appian all the way back in 2005. That makes us the most highly experienced Appian partner, Appian federal partner. We've got, in that 15-year time, we've got more than 400 successful deployments to the federal sector, more than 40 federal prime Appian contracts. We have become the go-to partner. And as a result, we built a large cadre of cleared and certified Appian professionals, over 100 now. So that's what really differentiates us as a firm. All right, so what are our objectives for this discussion today? We're going to discuss with you exactly how CollabraLink took a legacy Appian application that was heavily dependent on manual deployments and moved it to a fully automated CI/CD pipeline. We also want to talk you through the technical and cultural challenges that are faced when doing something of this nature. And the way to avoid that is to basically leverage Appian and automation from day one. But we want to talk you through some of the challenges and hurdles you'll face as you migrate to this sort of automated pipeline. With that, I'll turn it over to Jay Vijaykumar, and he'll walk you through our CMS case.
Thank you, Rahul. At CMS, we took over a program called Macro that was built on Appian. The application supports two large nationwide programs called Medicaid and CHIP. The key aspect of the application is that it speeds up the amendment process and ensuring all legal considerations are met. And the unique thing about this program was it's at the crossroads of IT and human impact. So it's a very critical program for us. the legacy application that brought in a lot of manual steps related to deployment process. So there were like around 60 steps for a deployment to happen. And if we missed a step, say 40, we had to start all over again from scratch. And that became a big challenge because the whole deployment process was so fragmented. All the environments were out of sync and everything had to be manually enforced. So this is a representation of what the environment would look like. So the developers would interact with the dev servers, do their development, and the deployment managers had to manually go to each and every environment and deploy code. Now, a lot of code was being deployed from their laptops, so there was no version control, and we would often end up overwriting each other's code. So there were a lot of issues during promotion, and that resulted in delayed deployment. Let me walk you through some of the crash points in CI/CD. In a CI/CD at the planning stage, we typically take large complex features that make automated deployment a very big challenge. So we got to break it down. During the create, the team fails in test-driven development, and there's no decoupling of features. So everything is tied together, and again, creating a lot of bottlenecks in deployments. The automated test cases are not independent, so we're not able to run that in each environment. The packages become a challenge when the developers don't know how to use the version control. So every package had to be manually touched, and when you touch processes manually in a CI/CD, that totally dilutes the effectiveness of CI/CD pipeline. So some of the challenges that we saw in this legacy environment are not surprising. The deployments were not independent, environments were all inconsistent, and there was lack of test coverage between the environments. So CollabraLink took a strategic pause, and they defined their goals for CI/CD, and they said that we want to ensure code resiliency from the get-go. We want to ensure that we are reducing risk, and for a program like MacPro, or large program like MacPro, even these changes made a very big impact. We also wanted to ensure that all the code that was being deployed was using version control and source controls. No code from developer laptops anymore. And that was a very big change in this whole process. Now, there are some challenges in taking application mid-flight like we did in MacPro. And some of them are that the environments are totally out of sync. There's unstable code, very fragile code. If you make one change and it starts breaking all over the place. There's lack of documentation. There are hardly any procedures in place. There's long downtime during deployment. Hence, it's not surprising, the user community was totally unhappy. So we took a strategic pause in the whole program. And to approach this in the right way, we started to create a baseline code. This baseline code contained all objects for the application that could be deployed. And we took some time to make sure all the environments were synced with this baseline code. So we deployed this baseline code in all the individual environments. We created SOPs for any activities that the deployment managers had to do in case they had to touch some of the places. And we made sure all the deployment happened using a source control tool. And let me walk you through some of the tools that we used. We used the Appian's plugins for automated version manager and import manager. We used Fitness for automation testing. We used GitLab as our version control, and Jenkins did the whole orchestration between deployment and testing. And we used Flyway as the database version manager. Now, our modernized process looks something like this. Developers would interact with the dev servers and would deploy code there. They did test-driven development, and once they verified their code, they would insert it in Git. Now, once it was there in the version control, Jenkins did all the deployments and testing. So there was no human interaction in all other environments. Now, when we're talking about deployments, we're talking about a deployment from a package that contains all the Appian objects. For a project like MacPro, that could be like around 25,000 objects. But Appian is smart enough to only deploy the objects that were modified. Hence, the deployments were quick. So we were churning out the deployments pretty fast. The challenges that we face along the way, there are myriad of challenges. One thing we would suggest is start CI/CD from day one, because it's very challenging in a legacy environment to implement CI/CD. Because to start with, it's a cultural change, and you have to train the developers to do this. So there's a lot of investment that is required to be done upfront, and all these investments, though it will pay later, requires time. You also have to ensure that all the code in that environment are all synced up. The deployments are happening in the normal, in a very synchronized way. I'll hand over to Rahul to talk more about the results that the CMS encountered.
Thanks for handing it off. So results, this was critical to get right. We had to ensure that we were getting consistent baseline environments, predictable deployments. It improved our Agile SDLC immediately, resulted in less outages and downtime. But most importantly, we now have such rapid volume of deployments. And this means that production represents the best in class. It represents the latest and greatest code that is available. That's really important, especially on a system of this nature where you've got a big human impact that you're delivering through an IT system. So why isn't everyone doing this? Jay mentioned there's cultural blockers. Getting to a fully automated CI/CD pipeline is not easy, in particular if you're inheriting a system. So there can be cultural blockers here. That's why it's easiest to start right from the get-go, right from the start of a new project. There's also perception issues between Appian and Git, Appian and scalability challenges with fitness. We found that those are misconceptions. We are able to leverage source code or source control effectively. We're able to scale fitness effectively. So come talk to us a little bit more about that. Come visit us at our virtual booth. We'll be happy to give you an overview of exactly what we do in order to enable that. Lastly, it's hard. This stuff is definitely complex. But we've got several implementations where we've gotten this done, and it's proving to add significant ROI for our customers. So once again, we'd love to have you come by our virtual booth, and we can talk to you more about it. The best advice we can give you, like we said earlier, start using this methodology from day one. Bake in automation into your culture and into the methodology that's leveraged. It just makes life a lot easier. Trying to re-engineer this and rewire this after the fact does present challenges. We are CollabraLink. We are here to build a modern digital government leveraging Appian. We would love to talk to you more about how we can help you do just what we talked about today. Automate, leverage DevOps, and make sure to get full ROI on your projects. Thank you very much for your time.